Before Bob starts his program, we have a special guest speaker today. We have Rick Van Dyken from Trinity, and he's going to talk to you for a few minutes about a new and exciting program that Trinity is offering called Fusion 59. And everybody should be very excited about it. It's going to be an awesome thing for the college and for Palos Heights. Rick?
My grandfather once taught me that food never tastes good unless you ask a blessing for it first. And I have to rebut him today because the food was fantastic and we haven't asked for a blessing for it. But if we can take a second, I'd like to do that if that's okay with you. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity that we have to gather together here in Palos Heights. We're grateful for our town. We're grateful for your presence here among us. We're thankful for this food that you've provided for us and the hands that prepared it today. We pray, Lord, that it will be good for us so we can be strong and healthy. Lord, we ask that you continue to guide our mayor, Bob Straz, and we just pray your blessing on him as he leads us in his role, and we just ask that as a community that we will be encouragers for him and encouragers for each other as we continue to move forward in leadership. Thank you for this day, and bless our time together now. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Greetings from President Dykstra. He drew the short straw and is in Florida this week with our baseball teams and with our softball team and watching some games and encouraging our students down there. So I come in his place today and want to just share a couple of things. We're very grateful to announce that we are also celebrating a special anniversary this year. We are celebrating our 60th anniversary as a college here in Palos Heights. And we're very, very blessed by that. We will be having a number of special events coming up throughout the rest of the year, and look forward to inviting you to all of those. So we're grateful for that. As we mentioned, we have our new program called Fusion 59. And if you haven't had a chance to come and see our Fusion 59 spaces, I want to encourage you to do that. It's in the library. It's in the Huizinga Library on our campus. And they have a wonderful space. And the purpose is a place to create an opportunity to connect with business, to collaborate with students and faculty and business leaders, and also to create new opportunities and new initiatives. And so it's a wonderful, healthy, and exciting place to be at on our campus. And we see not only business students involved, but we see students from across the campus getting engaged in this in a variety of ways. One of the exciting things that's happening with our Fusion 59 group is we are going to be hosting the CEO of 1871. I don't know if you're familiar with 1871. Have you heard of 1871? Okay, good. This is an opportunity to learn today then. 1871 was the year of the Chicago fire, and so that's where the name for this organization comes from. And the thing that happened at the Chicago fire was not necessarily the fact that the fire happened, but what happened afterward. There were engineers, architects, and inventors that all came together and gave their best to create what we know today as Chicago. And so that's the environment that the 1871 group works in today. They are 500, get that, 500 early stage, high growth strategy startups that are working together in 1871. They do this in the merchandise mart. If you haven't had an opportunity to go there, you ought to check that out. It's a cool place. But Trinity Christian College is one of 7 institutions, higher ed institutions, that are members of 1871. So we're sending our students down there on a regular basis to engage in these 500 startups, to get feedback from them, to help our students engage more in what they can do as entrepreneurs and as students. And so we have an opportunity coming up, and on your table there will be a card, so please pass those around. Somebody grab them in front of you and pass them around. We have the privilege of hosting Betsy Ziegler, and she's the CEO of this 1871 group down there. Impressive woman, has done some fantastic things in her career. And we're hosting her a week from tomorrow. So a week from Wednesday, and it's on the 13th. We encourage you to come and listen to her. I want to share a little bit of what she's going to be talking about. She's going to talk about the pace of change, what's required for leaders today to stay ahead of the curve, and how institutions of higher learning and businesses have to continually adapt to our changing world. So very good topics to get engaged with and to participate in. So I want to encourage you to come. It's going to be hosted in our theater, the Calamine Theater, which is on the campus. You'll see it as you drive on from Route 83 on the left-hand side. And I want to encourage you to come out and be part of that day. There are some limited seating, so if you're interested, get in charge or get on your computer. The address is on the card here. You'll see it to register. I'll just mention it, tbnmarch.eventbrite.com. Okay? So please join us for that. Thank you for the opportunity to share this, and just grateful for the good business that's happening here in Palos Heights and the way that the community is engaging with our students on campus. Thank you.
Again, I encourage everybody to check out the new happenings at Trinity College. It's going to be very exciting for the students there and for the city of Palos Heights. Now, without further ado, I think we're ready for our main speaker, Bob. You ready, Bob? All right, Bob's ready to go. And there's more food if anybody wants anything else. Grab it.
Good afternoon. Hope you enjoyed your lunch. I'd like to thank the library for one. Some of the people here, Jesse and his staff, Janine for her hard work, and Holly for her hard work, and all the people who were involved in this thing you saw before we had dinner or luncheon with history of Palos Heights. And I saw it Thursday night. The library was gracious enough to give a copy of it to the city, and we watched it before, and it was great. I mean, you see some of the things that you've heard about. I've been out here 40-some years, and I remember some of those things, but obviously a lot of that predates my time out here. But we are now, as of next week, we're going to start actually airing it on Channel 4 also. So those of you who have cable TV, which are hooked up into our network, will be able to pick it up. So if you get a chance to see it, please do it. It's a fascinating history of Palos Heights and what happened has happened here over the years, and in our 60th anniversary, how it happened. So we're in our 60th year. Just kind of let's start off by a couple things here that I think government should be both transparent and invisible. And I think it should be transparent for all to see what goes on, but it should actually be invisible in completing the duties that we do. We're here to work for the citizens. And the citizens are residents, students, workers in your own your operations. That's what we're here for. But one thing that does happen from time to time is change. And this is going to be a year of change for the city of Palos Heights. On my own side, Pat Shepard, who has been my assistant for the last 10 plus years, has left, and Margaret Curie, who's sitting over there, has joined me came to us from the city of Countryside. Scott Smith, who many of you know, who's been with us for 30 plus years. We're not even sure how many years, he's just kind of always been here. He's going to finally pull the plug and retire. And we are fortunate to add a gentleman named Adam Jasinski, who was a professional engineer who came out of Naperville. A nice young gentleman who I think will fill Scott's shoes, or at least attempt to fill Scott's shoes. And I think should do a good job. Mike Leonard, who many of you know, was instrumental in a lot of things that happened here in this building and in the programs we've run for the parks over the last number of years. He's going back to Shanahan, or has gone back to Shanahan, where he started out. And after an exhaustive search, we were able to come up with an individual who will be announced tonight. I'll make that appointment tonight at the city council meeting. So stay tuned. That's going to happen. But throughout all this, and one more thing, I guess we'd be remiss if I did mention Alan Fulkerson, who's been an alderman in the City of Pale Sites for 20-plus years. He is not running for re-election. So we'll have, at least in the third ward, we'll have a new alderman. And speaking of aldermen, we've got a couple of aldermen here today. Don Violet, Jeff Key, and Dee Kramarski have joined us today too. But they add to that stability as we've gone through. So as we have this change, we have stability operationally and along financially, because we've always had financial stability as far as I'm concerned. And that's a credit to not only the elected officials, but the salaried people we have on staff who will give us endless hours to make the City of Pale Sites function well. So we're going to go a little bit of a highlight to what's happening, but let's take a look at what makes everybody visible. All right, Ron, you told me this was going to work. Is it on? That's right. All right, there we go. Okay, here's the general fund balance. For those of you who've been around for a while, you're starting to get used to this. We've drawn a surplus annually in our general fund where our income has been in excess of our expenses since the year 2002. It's not always been the case. But what we do is we don't just put that money away and piggyback it and put it in a piggy bank. We have a funds policy as far as what we need to keep for the operation of our city. We keep 30%, and you can see it's pretty level as far as where it's at, about $3 million. That's about 30% of our annual budget. We keep that in reserve. The balance of that is put into capital budgets. The town is 60 years old. We talked about that to begin with. Infrastructure needs to be replaced. We're starting to see that. We're starting to see it pretty dramatically in some cases. Water and sewer especially. The best and the most effective way to make that money work is to take those fund balances we have in the capital accounts especially and match them with grants. Here's the grants we've had over the last 8 years. We've almost over $5 million in grants we've been able to come up with. Grants for the most part are matching. So what we're able to do is take $20 worth of money in the capital account, the capital budget, and get $100 of capital improvements. All right, so it's a 4-for-1 match. Here's one instance. Just recently we were awarded a OSLOT grant for open lands. It's going to cost us $400,000. We're going to get $400,000 of improvements in Palmer Park. You'll see right there. New pickleball for some of you people who are into the pickleball craze, which has swept the land. I see people laughing, but that's the thing to do right now. Redo some of the fields. You're going to see parking area is going to be fixed. We're going to have a zip line feature, basketball court. $400,000 cost the city $80,000 because of the matching grants that are available. If you don't have the money, if we didn't have an effective budget where we have a surplus every year, we would not have that money for these grants. That's what we need to do, is be able to have the money available for grants. Here's another situation. Over at Lake Katherine. Let's see if I can get this thing correctly. Now let's use my hand. Here's Lake Katherine parking right here, okay? This is the area behind what is now the Tiffany Square. It's going to be a parking area, okay? There, we actually scored a trifecta. We were able to get that by having MWR, the Southwest Conference of Mayors, which is a funding mechanism for a lot of the grants that are available, pay 80% of that, okay? We went to MWRD and said, hey, that's on your property. How about you picking up the other 20%? And as long as we were able to show that it was used environmentally safe, used permeable pavers and things such as that, they bought into it. So we're going to get this whole thing paid for nothing. So ultimately, what we'd like to do, besides having the parking lot here, is also, this is the CICB bank here. When I built it, which was a long time ago, we were Worth Bank. We want to take this driveway, and we're in negotiation now to run this driveway into the parking lot to create another entrance and exit into the Lake Katherine area. So hopefully, at some point in time, we'll be able to get that done. This is going to be on Ridgeland Avenue. Okay, you've seen some improvements on Ridgeland Avenue. There was a Ridgeland Avenue corridor study a number of years ago. I sat on that, and it was probably about 5 years ago, I believe, or 6 years ago. What can all the towns do on Ridgeland Avenue from 87th Street south? So here are some of the ideas as far as putting some improvements into Ridgeland Avenue. Again, this is done with the RTA blessing. It's an 80-20 match. Here's what you're going to see. You've seen, if you look at on Ridgeland, just south of 83, okay, you'll see the medians. Right now you see 5 or 6 trees, one that was hit by a car, but we won't go into that, that'll be replaced. Insurance claims take a while, you know, that kind of thing. But this is what it's going to look like starting in spring, once we plant the flowers, okay? So you'll see that going down there. This is going to be further down by Westgate. The trees are in there. There's no cars, there's no driveway there, that's why those haven't been hit yet. But you'll see the flowers that'll be there. So the idea is to beautify that whole Ridgeland Avenue. Here, this is on Route 83 from City Hall. You see the pool here? Going down, we're going to continue the sidewalk. It ends right now just west of the City Hall. It will go down to Country Square. And theoretically, you can get into the hospital from there. Okay? If you remember, those of you who have been around here before, we were able to get this done through an RTA grant, because what we did is we said, okay, we RTA, the bus stops at 83 and Harlem. People have to walk on the street to get to all the health facilities we have to the west of there. Vandercare, all the health facilities, Palos Hospital. So we were able to get funding to put in a sidewalk there. So this is, although this is not going to be paid for that, this was the last end of the sidewalk that had to be done. So we're going to complete that on our own. But what we're looking now is, we do have some gaps throughout the city where sidewalk and walking can be a little bit easier done if there were some sidewalks. We're just going to backfill. If you know on Ridgeland, we talked about earlier, on the west side of Ridgeland, on the east side of Ridgeland, I'm sorry, there's a asphalt plant, track that goes all the way from 127th Street to 83. Hopefully we'll connect that to down closer to 83 into the bike path, the CalSag bike path. So you can actually go from that bike path. You can do it now, but it's a little bit, you've got to move around a little bit. You'll be able to go from the bridge at 83 and Ridgeland, go down Ridgeland Avenue all the way to 135th Street, pick up the trail out to Oak Forest and Tinley Park. Okay, so the idea is to create more movement within the town. A number of years ago, we had no sidewalks to speak of. The road program. We talked about the age of the city, 60 years. This is what we've done as far as roads since 2011. We spent this much money on roads. Here's our road program from 1995 until this year. Just since 2001, and that's all I can tell you about, that's as long as I've been here. The last 17 years, we're trying to actually pave all the roads within a 20-year period. That's basically about how long a road lasts. We have been able to accomplish by paving 38 miles out of the 50 miles of streets that are in Palos Heights. So we didn't accomplish everything, but we're pretty darn close. And some of the roads that weren't paved are fairly newer roads. That's why they weren't done. So there's a program. The idea is to be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to do this unless the financials were as the way they have been for the last couple of years. So that's where I'm going on this. Rec Center. Okay, we're here. This was a gym. Those of you who grew up in town here, this was Crab Orchard School. Even before, after Crab Orchard School, it was a gym. Now we have functions here just as this, and the Women's Club have a lot of things here. There are weddings here. We've got the Rec Center that actually runs on an ongoing basis. We have 548 members at our club. On a weekly basis, there are 750 uses of the fitness center on average. 500 uses of the walking track. And 300 hours of cardio sessions done here. Something that didn't exist 5 years ago, okay? Didn't exist. Now, when we get done here today, if anybody would like to take a look at the facility, please feel free. This way, if you came in the front, you probably don't even realize, behind here are 2 gyms, a whole fitness workout, a walking track above the gyms, locker rooms. This way, we've got classrooms and some other facilities. If you need to rent a room, we can do it here too. So this has become a multi-purpose facility for the use of the city. Again, this has all happened within the last 5 years. The pool. We're one of the few municipalities that still has a municipal pool. And I'd like to say a municipal pool that actually makes money. Back in 2006 to 2009, you know, those of you again who were around, we talked about closing it. We were losing money. You know, said we're not going to keep this thing open if we're not going to make any money in it. We're not going to just, you know, support it. We had a group of citizens dead set to keep that pool moving. They said, what can we do? They started getting support for the pool. We were able to get 2 grants. And from then on, after the renovations in 2010, you've seen the last number of years, with one exception, the pool made money every year. Not that it has to, but even if it broke even, it would be okay. But we run programs and people want to have a pool. They come here because we do have a pool. This is what it looks like on warm days. Cold days, like, yeah, you know. The Calsag Trail, opened a number of years ago. Look at the number of people we see on a given year. 66,000 people show up every year to use the Calsag. These may be people who have never come to Palos Heights before. They drive. If you've ever been on that trail, you think you're in the middle of Michigan somewhere. Not that there's anything wrong with Illinois, but Michigan, you know. But and maybe somebody starts to say, hey, this is a beautiful area. Let's come back. Let's see what the downtown area has. You can, you know, as you know, you can literally get from the Calsag Trail into our downtown area. Spend some money, have some meals. That's what it's all about. Speaking of downtown, we've seen, as we've talked about, we've seen the transformation of the downtown area. We have all types of cuisine. We have a nightlife. I've been out here about 40-some years. I remember when you came out here before, if you went downtown after 5 o'clock during the week or on Saturday, there was nothing here. I mean, Blood Store for Men was closed. The Cinderella shop, all the stores you saw on the first video, they're all gone. Retail has changed for the most part, with the exception Golden Shoes, you know, a couple of the Norel, some of the, you know, stores that still have surviving because of the service they give, but merchandising has changed. Okay, there are no more men's clothing stores. We get 2 of them. Independent drugstores, they don't exist anymore. Dime stores, when Ben Franklin closed to become Franklin's Public House, there were 6 Ben Franklins in the whole state of Illinois. And that was 5 years ago. I already have no idea how many there are now. So we repurposed the building. We've had some investors come in. Obviously, Mike Coogan came through, had a vision. This is what he did with Franklin House. Keffy, you go back to the first video we had, this was a gas station. That's what was there. Again, this has been like 5 restaurants since we've come across it. Keffy gets raves as far as their Greek food. Those of you who love Greek cuisine. Close to my heart, the Highlander House, Polish cuisine. Probably get a real good punchki there today if you want to go over there, okay? Mama Vesuvio's, a staple that's been around forever, whether it be on Harlem Avenue or on Ridgeland. And again, the litany of other restaurants that are in town. Harmony, you may say, what is Harmony? Okay, Harmony, I hate to say this way, but it's the old Toby's, okay, on 76th Avenue. But it's going to be a Chinese restaurant, or Asian hibachi restaurant. They actually have one over by Midway Airport now. So that's what's going to be opening. We do have some other things happening besides this. We've got some national brands that are here. AT&T, for example, is going to come into town at 119th and Harlem, the old Radio Shack. That whole building is going to be remodeled, and an AT&T store is going to go in there, along with staying is going to be Sherman-Williams. What we've done is we've taken the downtown area and we've tried to do with what we've got, but enhance it. Okay, this is the municipal parking lot, which didn't exist. Over the years, we bought two facilities or two properties, turned into municipal parking lot. We've put in a fountain, a lot of landscaping. It's become a focal point for a lot of the activity goes on in the area. We use it. The farmers market's down here. The car classics down here. The new Kris Kringle market this year was there. All these things bring people to the downtown area to make it a vibrant area. We came up with a branding of the city this year. Come alive. Okay? That's the whole thing. You can come here. We emphasize food, art, and entertainment in Palos Heights. One of the few towns that you can do that, all those things in. I feel so confident and so thankful. Think about Palos Heights. We have our own pool. We have a rec center. We have a golf course. We have a hospital. We have a college. Great schools. I mean, this is, what else could you ask for? This is what's happening in town. The next thing you're going to see is the Spectrum Living Center. I was fortunate enough about 2 weeks ago to take a tour of the facility. Very impressive. I mean, you walk through it, it's going to be such a great facility for Palos Heights. I mean, they have anywhere from, it'll be for independent living, assisted living, memory impaired. Majority of the units will be for independent living, okay? And they run anywhere from a studio to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit, and prices accordingly. But they have 3 different dining rooms, living areas. They have a movie theater, cocktail lounges, a hair, beauty parlor. It's going to be for seniors, okay, obviously. What does that do? That gives us an ability to turn over some of the housing stock we have here in town. And I'll touch base with that in a little bit. You've also seen there are Spectrum, the people who are putting this thing in are very concerned about the environment. This is what they're doing behind it. They're actually planting more besides what's been already planted. If you notice the facility, it's already got plantings in it. This is what's behind it between there and Lake Katherine. They made a commitment to help us with Lake Katherine. So you see some of the plants are already in. So they're growing by the time they open up. Palos Health, obviously, a couple months ago, announced their merger with Loyola. It's only to continue to make Palos Heights an economic-driven healthcare facility. There's no doubt in my mind, and it should be in anybody's mind, that the healthcare industry in Palos Heights is one of the most strongest economic drivers we have. Whether it be the hospital, all of the, we've got the MRIs we have around here, occupational therapists, rehab facilities, doctor's offices, the dentist's office. This is what really makes Palos Heights move. Not only do a lot of the physicians and personnel work here, they also live here. When you go into any of the restaurants, you'll see some of the medical professionals that are here having lunch, having dinner with their families, because they live here, they stay in town here. Again, that's what helps make a economic driver for the town. Building. We've seen a lot of building. Last year, we issued 835 building permits, totaling over $13 million in new construction. Okay, obviously part of that is Spectrum, but a good portion of that is remodeling. As you drive through Palos Heights now, we had that flurry of, I don't want that. Greg's laughing at me here. Remodeling that happened in the late 09, 08, before the real estate crash happened, okay? We're starting to see remodeling again, tear downs. And we don't want to make Palos Heights old. Old Palos old, which is one of the things we had before. We need new stock in town, new housing stock, and that's what's happening. You're having people move into Spectrum, sell their houses, Some cases to their kids, their grandkids, because they grew up in this town, they want to be here. They want to go to our schools, our churches, and spend their money here. One of the greatest things that can happen, because they feel an affinity for Palos Heights. So we're seeing a lot of that going on as you drive through town. Palos Heights, finest, got 3 of them here. Unless there's some more undercover guys here, I don't know. Chief and 2 deputy chiefs, thank you for all your time you guys put in over the years. Last year we answered 9,000 calls. You know, we also had over 10,000 traffic stops and issued 87 DUIs. Now, if you just pick up the distracted driving ones with guys on the cell phone, I'd really happy. That's my pet peeve, but that's another story. We also had over 2,800 hours of training, well, including an active shooting training that was done at Independence, which is the building right behind us. Well, you know, you want to prepare for the terrible thing that happens. It never happens in your backyard until it happens in your backyard. Our guys are prepared for it. Public Works. These are the backbone of our guys. As I said, Scott's leaving. Adam Kaczynski is coming aboard. He'll do a great job. We do so much stuff in town here, and we do it in-house also. You know, we don't subcontract a lot of the things out. Our guys, you know, are electricians, they're plumbers, they fix sewers, they fix water, and they do a lot. I mean, it's just these plow the snow, these inclement weather we've had over the last couple of months. They're there. When this cold weather hits, where you've got water main breaks, they're out there. They don't say, hey, it's too cold, I can't go out there. That one weekend where it was snowing, I was over at City Hall for something else, and these guys had all these packs of hot things to put in their pants and their hands, and they just kept rolling all the time. So it was just a valiant effort on their part. Well, to do that, we need some new equipment. And this is the granddaddy of Vactor machines. This thing will suck water out of anywhere, but it's to clean out the sewers and the culverts. You know, we've got surface water drainage through most of our town, but our machine was dying, and this is something that we have so many utilities that are buried in different parts, and this allows us to get to those utilities. Also, we needed a new street sweeper, and this got us what we needed. It's a Elgin street sweeper. I think the one, if I remember right, we approved it at the last meeting, I think it was a 69 or something like that, or 96, or some ungodly old piece of equipment. So this is what we're using now. Just to give you an idea, this costs $227,000. That costs $431,000. That's where money goes, okay? That's what you need to keep a town running. Lake Katherine, still continues to be the jewel of the southwest suburbs. You know, we've drawn, over the years, over 100,000 people any given year to Lake Katherine. Oops, wrong one there. So you know what's going on next year, okay? But in the Monarch Butterfly Festival alone, we had 3,200 people show up. Great number for people. Again, people who may not come into Palos Heights. They've got to drive down Arlen Avenue. They've got to drive down E3. You know, they may, just as you know, we talk about residual effects of businesses in town. You know, you say you're at the Monarch Butter Festival and you didn't have one of the hot dogs from the night, you want to get something really food. You know, you may stop at a Franklin House, okay? You may stop at Mid-Villa Pizza. If you're over at Palos Hospital and you've got a loved one that's in the hospital, after you get done visiting them, you may come downtown to Palos Heights and have a sandwich, grab a quick drink, something like that. Those are all the things that we try to work with people. Going back to Lake Katherine, you know, last year, I signed the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. We built a number of monarch flower beds throughout the town. And that'll continue. They've had fishing events, rentals. You know, the rentals last year exceeded their budgets. People are renting the rooms, renting the facilities for weddings. It's a great place to have a business meeting. If you, other than this building, if you're looking to have a business meeting for some of your people, excuse me. come out there. You could have this nice setting overlooking the lake if you give your business meeting. But you have kayak rentals now and canoes. Also, the Nature Center itself, besides the 100,000 people who visited Lake Katherine, saw 22,000 visitors, many of them school kids. Okay? Again, they tell their parents about how beautiful Lake Katherine is. Come on back. Okay? Palos Heights Library. Again, thank you for the video that you gave us. People at the table here. Celebrating their 75th year. Town's been around 60 years. Library's been 75 years. Remarkable business. Remarkable what they do for town. I mentioned a little bit when I was there Thursday night. They've progressed and changed as the industry has changed. It's no longer just renting out books or giving out books for people to read. They become a resource center for information. If you need something, the library is the place to get it. So again, thank you for your 75 years. The Art Commission. This is something we started about 10 years ago. We've got a number of individuals who love art. We've added art throughout the town. You know, there's 16 pieces of art that we put out throughout the whole town, down by the train station, by Lake Katherine. There's a couple, one in front of the town here that was donated. All these 16 pieces were donated by Dr. Callahan from Burr Ridge. He wanted to get them off his estate. We brought them here and put them out through town. We put another, the art garden itself is at 123rd and 72nd Court. That's been there, I want to say 15 years now. We've got some new pieces of art there. As we added the municipal parking lot, you notice on the dry cleaners, there's a big butterfly. Valerie Lenz was commissioned to paint that. And also we have a new sculpture now. It's going to be on a rotating basis in Community Park. This is all, it's all a quality of life. This is what we want. This is the most recent sculpture we put in the Community Park. There's more to life than just dollars and cents. This is the quality of life thing. You see art within the town. Channel 4, what can I say? They've produced 200 shows last year. It's more than any town you can imagine. They are, I would say, probably the premier cable provider as far as from a city our size in the metro area. We have people from all over coming to visit what we do with Channel 4, to Ron and his crew. If you didn't know, we also, besides running the cable for Palos Heights, we also do Hickory Hills, Palos Hills, and Worth. We handle all their cable. The same. If you happen to do a Meet the Merchant, say for your restaurant here on the Palos Heights Channel 4, it actually plays in all those 4 towns. Okay, not to mention online also. So those are the things you can come up with. Again, we promote the town of Palos Heights and what goes on in Palos Heights. This was something that was in Crane's business. You see, January 31st this year, not long ago, that we are included in one of the most improved housing markets. That's because we have more homes sold, higher median price being sold, and a shorter average time on the market. That's what was the criteria they used for one of the most attractive areas to be. Who was up there? Palos Heights, along with about 15 other towns. Okay? Again, part of that is the turnover we're starting to see in the housing. Houses are coming online. It's all positive and it all deals with the quality of life. Transparency we talked about. This is what we do. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Constant Comment, we have newsletters, we live broadcast all of our meetings, we have the open meeting committee, Channel 4, we have a website. We're here for everything. We're on social media. We want to be invisible because we give you your service. We don't want you to know us. When Public Works comes in, you shouldn't see them. Water should work. Okay? The streets should be plowed. But transparency is something we want to give individuals because they need to know how we did it. And if they have a question, we can get you the information. The town's 60 years old, and hopefully this year will continue to prosper. What we've done so far the last 60 years. So thank you for your time, and any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. And if you want to get me here, get me anywhere, I'm just around town. So thank you.
This afternoon. I appreciate everybody coming. Remember, as a chamber, we are more than willing to help out your business. If there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. And if we need something for you, trust me, we're going to be calling you, asking to help. Thank you again for all your time.